right, folks. Hello. How's it going, everyone? That was awful. A lot of events here since July. How is it going, everyone in the room? Are you here with me? This is the first time I've ever been greeted with total silence. If you don't know who I am Jason Koo, Executive Director of Brooklyn Poets. Welcome to Brooklyn Poets. If you're here for the first time, I know a lot of you are here for the first time, including poet friends of mine that I haven't seen in quite a while, some of them since before the pandemic, so it's great to see you all in the same place. I know a poet is loved when she can bring so many talented poets together in the same room, because that is a difficult skill. So, Codjoe, you are loved. If I paid all these poets, they wouldn't come together in the same room. And believe me, I've tried. So you are beloved, and we're so happy to celebrate the publication of this beautiful looking book. And I've already read a few of the poems, and I know the poems inside are beautiful. The Bluest, it's just Bluest Nude, not the Bluest Nude. Tonight, with Books Are Magic, our new neighbors in Brooklyn Heights. Let's give them a round of applause for putting this together. This is my 5th event in 8 days, and this is also our last in-person event of the year, and I'm so grateful that they came to me with this, because I don't have to do a fucking thing tonight. It's fucking amazing. I've never sat at that chair and done nothing while tons of people walked in, so I'm so grateful that Books Are Magic came to me with this months ago. This has been in the planning for quite some time. They're like, hey, would you like to do this event with Codjoe and all these amazing poets? I'm like, fuck yeah, what do I sign on? And I don't have to do anything? That's great. So we're gonna get started in a second. There was something I was going to announce, and I feel like I've already forgotten, and it's probably not gonna come to me. We are live streaming on YouTube Live. Hello to all the virtual crowd. If you wanna buy books, go to the Books Are Magic people. Say hi to Caroline in the back if you want some wine or coffee or tea. I think we've got that going. Hello to everyone in the back. I hope you can see, including the poet who I saw earlier that wanted to be unknown and is probably sitting in that lounge chair in the back. Hello to my friend back there. I can't remember what I was going to say, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, Molly, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, give it up for Molly from Books Are Magic.
Thanks so much, Jason. Thank you to Brooklyn Poets for hosting us in this absolutely gorgeous space, and thank you all for coming out on this cold winter night. My name is Amali, and I'm the events director at Books Are Magic, which, if you didn't know, is a wonderful little indie bookstore actually just down the block from here. So tonight it is my privilege to introduce Nicole Sealey, Lyra Van Cleef-Stefanen, Zakia Henderson-Brown, Jenny Shiv, Michelle Whitaker, Aracelis, Girmay, and of course the one and only Codjoe, who joined us tonight for a celebratory evening of readings from Amma's most recent work of poetry, Bluest, Nude. I have a lot of bios to get through, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible so that we can get to the wonderful poetry that's in store for us tonight. So first off, we have Nicole Sealey, who is the author of Ordinary Beast. Her chapbook, The Animal After Whom Other Animals Are Named, was the winner of the 2016 Drinking Gourd Chapbook Prize. She has received fellowships and awards from Canto Mundo, the Cave Canem Foundation, the New York Foundation for the Arts, and the Elizabeth George Foundation, among others. She lives here in Brooklyn, New York. Lyra Van Cleef-Stefanen is the author of Open Interval, a 2009 finalist for the National Book Award, and Black Swan, winner of the 2001 Cave Canem Poetry Prize. She has been awarded fellowships from the Lannan Foundation and Sidfali Ranieri, among others, and she's the Associate Professor of Literatures and English at Cornell University. Zakia Henderson-Brown is of Starshine and Clay lineage. She is the author of What Kind of Omen Am I?, winner of the Poetry Society of America's Chapbook Fellowship, selected by Kate Marvin. She works as a senior editor at nonprofit publisher The New Press and lives in her native Brooklyn. Jenny Xie is the author of Eye Level and The Ruptured Tense. Short and sweet. Michelle Whitaker is the author of Surge, awarded a Next Generation Indie Book Award in Poetry. She has received a Pushcart Special Mention, Cave Canem, where she met Amma, and NYFA fellowships. Her poems have been published in the New York Times Magazine, The New Yorker, Upstreet, and other publications. Currently, she is poetry editor of the Southampton Review at Stony Brook University, Southampton. Aracelis Girmay is the author of 3 books of poems, most recently The Black Maria, for which she was a finalist for the 2018 Neustadt Prize. Her recent work has been published in Astra, the Massachusetts Review, and the Paris Review Online. She is on the editorial board of the African Poetry Book Fund and is the editor of How to Carry Water, Selected Poems of Lucille Clifton. She also lives and teaches here in Brooklyn. And last but not least, we have Codjoe, who is the author of Bluest, Nude, and Blood of the Air, winner of the Drinking Gourd Chapbook Poetry Prize. She has been awarded support from Cave Canem, Robert Rauschenberg, and Stall Foundations, as well as from Hawthornden, Hedgebrooke, Yaddo, and McDowell. Her poems have recently appeared in The Atlantic, The Nation, the Best American Poetry Series, and elsewhere. Among other honors, Codjoe has received fellowships from the Rona Jaffe Foundation, the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York State Council, New York Foundation of the Arts, and the Jerome Foundation. All right, so that's all the fantastic people we have with us tonight. We have all of their books available for purchase at the desk when you checked in, and Alma will be personalizing books after the readings tonight as well. All right, that is all for me. I'm going to hand it over to our first readers. Let's give all of these poets a wonderful last round of applause.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It is such a joy to be here to celebrate Alma's book, Bluest, Nude, one of the best books of 2022. I have 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna read, yeah? This is Alma's poem, beautiful poem. I yearned to be reckless, to smash a glass brought first to my lips, to privilege lust over tomorrow, to walk naked down the middle of a 2-lane road, but too late without my bidding, life cracked open, rushed open-mouthed like a panting dog whose name I did not call, my lips shut like a purse. The last man I kissed was different than the last man I fucked. We were so desperate then, the two of us, undone by longing, drawing night from the cracks inside us, drawing the night out as long as we could, until dawn broke like a beat egg and our heartbeats quieted in private fatigue. I'd be lying if I said I don't recall his name. The end of the world has ended, and desire is still all I crave. Oh, to be a stone, sexless and impenetrable. Over half of me is water, a river spilling into restless limbs. The rest of me is a scalding heat, like the asphalt under my feet. Damn. The whole book is like that. All right, I'm gonna read just a few poems from my forthcoming collection, which is an erasure of the Ferguson Report, which details the biased policing and court practices in Ferguson, Missouri. Just a couple. This is from pages 13 to 21. Then the birds began to fly low and patternless, as if they were each 2 hands joined, just pretending at birds. The soft music from passing cars, shouting down the soft music of their dying. Stop, hands where I can see. A boy pretends to pray. His mark makes of her hands a bird and flies away. Stop, or I'll shoot, he jokes, then makes of his hands a gun, fires away. Pages 35 to 39. use of force, force of habit, of nature, force feed, force down, force his hand, force in line, full force, by force, show of force, brute force, blunt force to be reckoned with, force a smile as law enforcement turns out in force, to force, open your door. And lastly, pages 78 to 84. Attention, history, temperamental as it is sold, wishes to remain anonymous in nature, name, and potential consequence. Ensuring a number of revisions, alternate endings, exact dates as appropriate. At the window, a partial view of a figure, separate his offenses. In the rare circumstance he fails to appear, even in writing, represented by memory alone, remain silent. Anything you say can and will be. Thank you. Congratulations.
Hi, everybody. It is my honor and privilege to be here to celebrate Amma and her wonderful work. To that end, after a year of forgetting, now I will learn how to tie an apron and unclasp my bra from behind. I will become hard like a moss-covered rock. I'll be stiff as a nightgown dried on the line. When the pond freezes over, I'll walk to its center and lie face up until it is May and I am floating. I'll become an anchor pitched skyward. I will steer chiseled ships, spinning fortune's splintered wheel. I will worry over damp stones. I will clean ash from the Madonna's cheek using the wet rag of my tongue. I'll make myself shrine-like in porcelain. I will stand still as a broken clock. I will be sore from lovemaking. I will become so large, my hair loosened will be mistaken for the swallow's cave. After June, there is a year of forgetting. After the forgetting, antlers adorn the parlor walls. Then it snows, and I'll be coarse. I'll be soft as my mother's teeth. I'll be sugar crystals and feathery snow. I'll be fine. I will melt. I will make children from office paper. They'll be cut from my stomach wearing blank faces. Bald and silent, they will come out of me. Triplicates, holding hands. I will smooth their foreheads with a cool iron. I will fold the tepid laundry, turn down the sheets, then sleepwalk along the Mississippi until it is ocean and I'm its muddy saint. I will baptize myself in silt and December. I will become a pungent, earthly bulb. I'll pillar to salt, I'll remember the pain of childbirth, remember being born. And then I'll just read a few, or a couple. I always like to read stuff that's brand new that I don't know if it's done or not. So maybe I'll do that, just something out of the Notes app. And then y'all can tell me if it's done or not. If I can find it. I was just looking at it, but I don't know where it went. And I only have 5 minutes.
That's okay.
Where is it? I was just looking at it.
Take your time, as they say.
Y'all know that cat though. Do y'all see the thing with the cat where it's like, it's time to go. Take your time. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The meme. Okay, so from Notes app, help yourself. Help yourself. For a decade, I felt like a ripe plum, tight and sweet, plump and tart. Run a thumb along the crease, rim, swim, the dimple, blush. I swept through rooms, through years, brush rows, 43, 44, left juice and tears, and red gold pulp to suck, a droop, teeth scraped to seed and strings, sexy and scrapped. I might have been a meal. That year I marched alone through glaciers, back trails, strumming my copy of Wendell Berry's The Country of Marriage against my leg. Not even bothering to hay bear until the hair on my arm stood on end and I had enough good sense to turn back, to try to find someone to be near. I might have been snatched off the map, yanked from my breath like a goat, a golden eagle yanks bleeding from a mountainside, snatched from sure-footed to surprise, dropped from such height. No one I know calls courage, pluck in speech. Feeling brave, I bought raw land. When I say I hired machines to scrape foundations from the hill. When I say I hired a man to draft an energy map.
Oh man, that's all really good. Alma, congratulations. What a pleasure these poems are. And it's just really great to be here with everyone tonight. So I'll start with yours. Breaking spine your book. A family woven like night through trees. The man asked, "Do you have a family?" My thinking brushes the air between us like a wet mark stains white paper. My mother's mother, dead 22 years. A stone house. The ants I've killed. Robin, who, when someone hurls toward me a small cruelty, cries, Memphis in August. My twin brother crunching ice. All the cousins I've made, walking amongst cedar trees. New Yorkers on New Year's Day or on the first day of spring. Not children I've birthed, but dead leaves raked into prickly hills, made messy with our falling. Artists skinny dipping in the ocean at night. It was family that surged and fell away. But the ties my grandfather wore on Sunday are kite tails in my closet. The mums my mother planted are tiny, decadent flames. Family returns like a sun, the way a wave is always and never the same. For once, it is not about the body. I listened as my friend's urge to kill herself grew, clamorous as a field of bells. She stank of it. Her voice reeked, streaked with ringing, and as if she were wreathed in baby's breath, cloaked in a robe of dianthus, as if she'd been washed by a river stripped of silt and mud, I drew her close, inhaled her musk, and brought her brow to mine. I mean to say, her blood was mine. It's really good. So I'm gonna read one poem from my little chap book, and then one other poem. So this is the title poem. It's called What Kind of Omen Am I After Black Thought? Seeking riches, become the only raised presence in a field so any bird will know where to shit. Success, leave a swallowtail alone on a windowsill. Do lunar blackouts yield sea levels upping the horizon to God? Enticing, except for a bunch of dead species floating like maimed angels. Don't start anything new. Cross knives, duel with a neighbor that no one survives. Stray shots at a child's surprise party, then a sun shower mocks their tiny cries. Badges saddle up in safety vests, crisscrossing the path of every black cat. Local ER refused trauma victim, say activists. I have a funny feeling in my wrists, an old auntie whispers, meaning bloodletting. One nightingale casts a spell, and everyone licks their lips to not end up dead. Any face ever backhanded, back, jacked. Foal resting on a mound, sun splicing its back. 6 lobes in the white of an egg mean a baby is close. Don't block your blessings, my pastor chides each week. I swallow watermelon seeds, walk till I'm full wattage, a buzz like spring rooted its smiling face in my back. When I was a girl, I turned a little boy into a butterfly with my open palm. I couldn't let him be. Do I descend from the eclipse or dead species? Childish qualms will never surprise me. Who wouldn't kill for gold, pegs on a slipshod ladder to be bulletproof, to feel like a celebration? Everyone walks in risk around my shadow. My neighbors in love, the maimed angel on my corner, shooting off his mouth until his lips crack and blood is let. Each day I start anew, victim to my own survival. I ohm on the same plane as the ocean, fluent in the language of the weary wrist, of the would not be saved by any specialist, and still dare to backfloat, to sing like a nightingale. I wear a vest, duel for salt licks, take the horizon to my lips, black out. On the shore, crows like little knives surprise my ankles. Just one more. It's newish. It's from a project I'm working on. So, untitled project. All right. This is called X Becomes Pillar of Salt, postscript. Just after the first of the year, I had to leave a man I loved alone with his eggs Benedict. whimpering, making a bit of a scene as I clacked out the bistro, hopped up on self-styled carte blanche, and full on top of that. I had the quiche. Some years, the heart is a weapon, discharged by accident. Other years, it purrs, it growls. 5 years ago, after being good and conned by an ex, a pattern emerged. Everywhere in the city I went, construction workers showed off with elaborate semaphore, stopping traffic for me with a wink and a smile, using their little bit of power to gain my favor. I would not call these tiny victories. I would call them evidence that I will take what you have, then forget you, I think to myself, as I leave my mark all over town, gesturing crudely with a straight face, much to the boys' disgust. I could do this all day and drag as an Ouroboros that alarms and dazzles with its one question. After shedding for the first time, does the snake ever consider its old skin? Thank you.
It is so good to celebrate Amma and Bluest Nude. I just want to say I love the dense interiors of these poems. I love Amma's roving intelligence, which lights up every page of this collection that we've all been waiting so long for. And I think one of my favorite dimensions of these poems is the ways in which they invite us to be strangers to ourselves. On seeing and being seen, I don't like being photographed. When we kissed at the wedding, the night grew long and luminous. You unhooked my bra. A photograph passes for proof, Sontag says, that a given thing has happened. Or you leaned back to watch as I eased the straps for my shoulders, hooks and eyes. Right now, my breasts are too tender to be touched. Their breasts were horrifying, Elizabeth Bishop writes. Tell her someone wanted to touch them. I'm touching the photograph of my last seduction. It is as slick as a magazine page, as dark as a street darkened by rain. When I want to remember something beautiful, instead of taking a photograph, I close my eyes. I watched as you covered my nipple with your mouth. Desire made you beautiful. I closed my eyes. Tonight I am alone in my tenderness. There's nothing in my hand except a certain grasping. In my mind's eye, I am stroking your hair with damp fingertips. This is exactly how it happened. On the lit-up hotel bed, I remember thinking, my body is a lens I can look through with my mind.
Yeah.
And I'll read one poem that I feel is in conversation with some of the poems in Bluest Nude. Present continuous. In the sweetness of the mountain pass, the severity of lines, thick saguaros, stabs of gold to the east and west of me. Even so, nerves quelled by dry wind. Truth is, I'm just 2 brushstrokes, no more, no lesser. Even without a center, I can sense forces urging my life back inside invisible coordinates. The root of forgetting is the constant rebuilding of the interior, is exhausted sun licking the land clean. Forgive me. I grow sleepless in August, answering to a whistle even I can't hear. Tell me again about the arrogance of the restless. When is it enough? Staying still, absorbing the echoing of tenses. Thanks.
Alma knows, we met at Cave Canem and, yes, but she knows, when I went to a reading in Bryant Park, soon after that, I think, she read a series of sonnets that I absolutely fell in love with and they just left an imprint. So this is just, I'm just so honored that you asked me to be part of this. Etymology of a mood. Sometimes I feel like a goddess with many hands, except human. One hand is amber gloved, dripping with honey, and two constantly shoo the flies. Two hands play Miss Mary Mac while two pairs clap to Rockin' Robin. In my hand, a dictionary. In my hand, the ash of want. In my hand, a teacup whose emptying bears my face. In my hands, a firefly, a sprig of rosemary between thumb and forefinger. In my hand, a pinwheel resembling the dahlias in my hand. What is the word for this feeling? What is the root of that word? Tell me what to call a twin who survives the other. Not widow, not orphan. And why light defines a shadow. Tell me what year the sun will fail, or when the word moons begin to convey the message, the passage of time. Sometimes I fall asleep petting my hair with 6 hands. By now, all the hairs in this house are mine. At night, I hear the spider's velvet legs crossing the web that, if disturbed, will stick to the fingers of one of my hands. My right hand holds a bell the left hand rings. The last of my hands I am ringing. And I think this is the closest in conversation with that particular poem. Meditation on Jackson Pollock's Queen, Troubled Queen. She slopes across a boat. She weeps with no girder, no gown, except for the body of he who bears her name, no name. She cannot sleep with the silence of what should have been a Valerian earpiece. She cannot sleep even when I send her countless sheep to stream their shanks into the geodesy. Nothing to sound but slit bangles slaving off into black water. She holds well her wildness, for his body is gray and quiet as a boy who lost manhandling the night swamp. Despite she as moon woman, despite she who is goddess and birdess, churning up air as she wears the death of cocoons in her hair, hoary and ornery with an ostrich eye. She unhinges mushroom like the crude toss of a duvet bent between her legs, man onto woman, water on water, ice for ice, seed for seed has dropped as fruit found to be rotten. But we kiss her up to God anyway, as she kissed him up to the desperate hands of Kali. Pulse is a rain dance. Justice is a king, secret in the wings. There is a storm coming, she waits fisted for. And for the thrones of Rosa, yes, there's a storm coming. She waits for, like a wolf monstering up, sheer, red, ballyhoo. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you. It's so thrilling to, I don't know, I accidentally brought my phone up here. Like, who are you? It's so thrilling to be here in celebration of this exquisite, extraordinary book. It's incredible. Congratulations. Thank you to be up here with you all. It's amazing to hear you. I'm gonna read something that's happening, like something new happening of my own, and then I'll read all this. There was a time in what feels like the third beginning of my life, when every day I walked with a horse, sometimes on his back, sometimes just in front, to the left or to the right. Later, I cleaned his hooves. I tried to listen. The dark marbles of his eyes were God to me. Without words then, I say now, God, please increase my attention, that I may smallen into such darkness. There is work to do. I say, God, please increase my courage, that I may speak. Sometimes, like now, the mother of my third beginning comes through with a prayer in her mouth. She could speak then, as now. It was some of what, thank God, she could learn. My favorite was when she'd bathe the car in the blood of Jesus, a protection. Her prayer was most the God to me. Her prayer and the blood and the horse's eyes. Anytime the horse returns, a visitation, I try to walk my children back to then, to that brown clearing near the giant oak. My old friend, Dee, climbed. I want to show the horse their beautiful hands, and for them to feel the soft force of his breath. My youngest is skittish. I leave her back inside the tree with Dee. Yet they are her eyes that flower across my skin. Every step nearer, the eyes that are part and some of my God. Hello, goodbye. I can never tell which one we are saying. By now, that mother is a fleck of gold. My dad is a dream. He runs through my oldest as horses. To read this book is for me to hear a wondrously attuned practitioner playing an exquisite instrument that is also memory and a dream. She's wearing a skirt. Her skin is otherwise mostly bare, and through it she senses and perceives the world, touching her sense to the sense of other Black feminist makers, sounding with such lush attention and with a mind on what is quiet, charged, sensuous, strange, and live. Just part of what I find so stunning about the work here has to do with the precision and agility of Amma's thinking. Movement, porous, dynamic, flickering with simultaneities, blurred. I have needed this book where such shiftfulness here is made possible. Part of the brilliance to me is her ability to stay awake to the root from thought to thought. Like, I keep thinking about Alice Walker in Search of Her Mother's Gardens when she talks about the gardens and how her befores, her elders could look at the land and figure out what needed to be planted where in the space, and the math and imagination of that, like line to line, it's like, oh my God, like you're seeing those roots. And this is just what you're seeing here. I mean, to see these roots, you see other roots, R-O-U-T-E-S. It's absolutely extraordinary to witness and to follow, and I thank you for this book. And I'm gonna read Blueprint. As I lay on the prickly grass, grasshoppers chattered in my hair. I stroked the ground like a beard. No one sang. The whole sky was watching. It's animal piss in the dye pot that makes indigo blue. Blue seeped out of me, but I wanted to forge it myself. I was obsessed with making the yellow leaves browned. The sugar pine needles refused to shed. I couldn't get the pigment right. It kept turning to mud. I had attempted this before, making wine from another's body, stamping and stomping my grape-stained feet. When I rose, I left the print of a woman behind. I noticed the pear tree, how it gave without question. I asked anyway, was asking again, collecting broken seashells and tiny elephant figurines. I needed a herd of blue. I soaked black beans for the color they left. My blue was a habit, a kind of river I stepped into, sometimes crossed because it held the sky so perfectly. I swung the axe. I swam with my arms. I hammered nails, though crookedly. Timber was my sacrum. Timber were my metatarsals. Timber was my lungs' pink flesh. Timber was my skull. I was a blueprint, blue on blue, mapless but for those warm bones, and my red heart barking. And when I turned, without making my skirt a basket, when I turned from all the fallen pears, the sky was full of shaking, wet with river water. It wasn't rain that fell. Whatever it was, I collected in the cups of my hands.
I was like almost gonna not cry, and then thank you, everybody. Super overwhelming and beautiful to share with you and to celebrate. I just feel so lucky, and I am. There are just so many worlds in the room, so many worlds coming together. So let me start with my thanks. My kids, I can't. Oh gosh, okay, I won't look at you. I want to thank Books Are Magic and Molly in particular for helping plan this event. Morgan from Milkweed, who is actually here from Minnesota tonight, and Jason and Brooklyn Poets for hosting. This is such a stunning space. I feel just marveling. I'm marveling. Yeah, I'm not done crying. So, to Nicole, who invites me to share so many sides of myself. Lyrae, sister from another planet. Zakia, Brooklyn, dreamscape, brownstone, smooth stone, right on. Jenny, careful, caring, fiercely committed. Michelle, who abides with me beside any body of water. Patrick, who is with us in spirit, whose voice flings open doors. Anna, who said words to me whose spells have changed my life. And I bring in the spirit of Aisha and dedicate this reading to her. Okay. I'm gonna start with one that's maybe like gonna get me out of this. Alright. Alright. Facing off. I feel naive when I think of it now. How carelessly I stood before him like a ballet dancer in a dressing room, bright with the backs of other girls. This was before the coldness he nursed and kept warm between his thighs. I waited too long for a thaw. He waited too. Taking him into my mouth, I knew the ache of winter. I heard the silences grow as a field of stones between us. When I look back at my body, young in the bedroom dark, lit by a perpetual city, I am gripping a rock in my right hand, and he is gripping a rock in his right hand. We face each other, muscles poised for sex or war. Who dropped the rock? Who cast it? I'm unsure, even now, who cried mercy first. Primordial mirror. I was newly naked, aware of myself as a separate self, distinct from dirt and bone. I had not hands enough, and so finally uncrossed my arms. In trying to examine one body part, I lose sight of another. I couldn't imagine what I looked like during the fractured angles of sex. At the river's edge, it was impossible to see all of myself at once. I began to understand nakedness as a feeling. It was a snake, loose and green. It was the snake skin, coiled and discarded. The shedding chained itself like a balloon ribbon to a child's wrist. Morning's birdsong reminded me of the sloughing off of skin. The rumored beauty of my husband's first wife never bothered me before. I missed the sensation of being fixed in amber. Then the hair in the comb, fingernail clippings, the red mole on my left breast grown suddenly bigger. I perceived my likeness in everything, the lines on my palm as the veins of a leaf, my mind as a swarm of flies humming over something sugary or dead, my vulnerability as the buck I'd killed and wrapped myself inside, my hair as switchgrass, twine and nest, a roving cloud, my every limb. So this is the last poem in the book, and then I'm going to read a longer poem to close. Let me maybe fix myself for a second, because it's my party. I can do what I want to do. Okay. All right. So the last poem of the book. There is a scar near my right eye. No lover ever noticed or kissed. A faint mark, split skin sewn. And so, and now, there was never a before. Never a time when the wind did not smell of dust or storm or brine or blood. Never an hour when I entered a field of bluebells without trampling at least one flower. And so, and then, on the day I was born, a stampede of horses filled my chest. Astronomers can only guess how the universe formed. The planet is dying. The horses, the mothers, the farmers, the bees. I am the ground, its many grasses and wild clover. My teeth grow yellow, ache, decay. I wash a plate, polishing the moon's face. Both will outlast my brutal hands. And so, in the minutes of after, the moon drips on a silver rack, and the plate floats, cracked with age, in outer space. A stray soapsud sparkles, then bursts. Okay. Bluest Nude. 1. When my mother was pregnant, she drove every night to the Gulf of Mexico. Leaving her keys and a towel on the shore, she waded into the surf, floating naked on her back, turquoise waves hemming her ears. She allowed the water to do the carrying. It isn't true. My mother lived hours inland, and her doctor prescribed bed rest. I want her to be weightless, belly up and moonlit, or filling a bathtub with hot water and stepping gingerly so as not to slip, easing herself into the cramped tub, ribbed with dirt from her husband and son, soaking for as many minutes as she could, savoring the water as it turned cold. 2. In the news, there was another incident. If I describe how the officer treated the young woman's body, I am also describing the color of her body. Let me refuse simile. I do not wish to write it. 3. In the flower of my body, blossoms belonging at last to me, sovereign place where I am no one but myself, peony and cracked vase, weeping beach and spiraled shell, siren, matron, Jezebel. A rush of bees enters me, and I am not stung. Petals unfold in night's bluest hymn. 4. The blue swimming pool, the blue in a record's groove, revolving. The pink hydrangea turned powder blue, glory of the snow blue, blue, black blue, the blue of a bruise, wild blueberry blue, the blue you pick, the blue you choose, the blue that bucks us like a bull, the blue bowl full of lilacs, the blue that falls as tufts of hair from the barber's chair, the blue sun makes, the blue shade of a yellow pine, television blue, cadmium blue, blue twisted into the spools of your DNA, forking into 2 directions, blue darkening your knees, the blue you miss because, though it almost killed you, blue was, for a season, your home. 5. There was another incident. If I describe how the officer treated the young woman's body, I am also describing the color of my body. 6. Then the last piece. A solemn veil lifted and tossed to the floor. I know the history of my body is a pair of hacked off hands playing the piano. Day after day in the artist's studio, I smell the melon's ripe decay. I draw a second body, then a third, and so on. My bodies reveal nothing and conceal nothing. Pin-up beauty, runaway, Venus of the circus act, night walker, wet nurse, odalisque, reclining nude. The women are me, and are not only me. Ours
are the only eyes. We construct our seeing as clay or wood into figurines of air. We perceive their shapes and uses just as wind is seen by watching leaves. These are the paintings I make of myself. Art is drawn on the cave of my body. There are as many walls inside me as there are bones at the bottom of the sea. It matters little how small I am in the pool of another's eye. It's awe or indifference I crave. I want to be seen clearly or not at all. The moon is an eye, flung open, useless without a pupil. It soothes me, this not seeing. Painters have gone blind staring at the sun. At the center of a hurricane is an eye in the midst of which one believes the storm is over. A woman's face can break, fall as quickly as night. Sometimes when I cry, all of the eyes which are mine, painted, sketched, photographed, begin to shed blue tears. I catch them in my hands or with pots and pans, or let them fall as drifts of snow. I eat them by the fistful. When you look at me in our most intimate exchanges, you drape my nakedness in a fabric I neither sewed nor bought. You pin my beauty with a tact against the wall, or me against a four-poster bed, thighs splayed, nipples spilling spoiled milk. In every light, the fact of history strips me blue. These are the conditions. The point is to go on. Drawing myself as water from a well, I can no longer believe in an innocence that was never mine. It is impossible to draw a self-portrait without the other women figured onto my flesh like barnacles fixed to a gray well. I am rough to touch. I am the yellow song of a blue pain. The women and I walk a tightrope of night. Our eyes adjust to growing darkness. We make of our vision knowingness. It's love the women and I make. Love fashions our sight. We drink from the waters that were once snow. We are quenched and we are thirsty. Thank you.
All I can say is that if you enjoyed all of this poetry as much as we did, we have all of the wonderful poets' books available for purchase. Alma will be personalizing books tonight. They're also all pre-signed as well. God, I am just absolutely blown away. Thank you so much, Alma, for putting all of this together. And it just feels so good to close out 2022 with an event full of such beautiful poetry in a space that is so gorgeous and cozy and with just such friendly faces in the audience. So thank you, Alma. Thank you to all the other poets who joined us tonight. Thank you, Jason, for allowing us to use this wonderful space. And thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. That is all I'll say. If you're still with us on the live stream, you can purchase a copy using the link in the live stream. All right, let's give these wonderful poets one last round of applause.